Classic Lukey.
All right. Hello. It is Unnecessary Podcast for a March
do that.
afternoon. Okay. All right.
So
do that.
lame.
It is
You're such an
unnecessary.
asshole.
It's unnecessary roughness as we get ready for March Madness to start. We're going to talk college football. And we are brought to you, this college football podcast for Barstool Sports is brought to you from the delicious, incredible, awesome, amazing Twisted Tea. I hold one in my hands. I hold the peach variety in my hands. Grab a refreshing Twisted Tea today. Unnecessary roughness, as always, brought to you by Twisted Tea. And Kayce, tell them about it as I take a sip.
I mean, I know, Brandon, you are so excited. I'm jealous. Where I am right now, I don't have one, and I'm jealous.
So
I'm watching. I know it's refreshing. It goes down smooth. It's the best. It's our new chapter. It is our new chapter. As last week we all cheers and we said, you know what? If we're gonna take it into the next 5 years of this podcast, we're taking it in with Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted. Grab a refreshing Twisted Tea today. Only 5% alcohol and no carbonation. You can drink these bad boys all damn day. Damn day.
I'm going to tell you what today is. I got inspired for the topic today when our friend Josh Pate last week had a clip go out, and he described. Do you know who he called the most hated program in America right now? Does anybody know who he said?
I think I saw it. Is it
Texas?
Was it Texas?
He called Texas the most hated program in America. And I'm not saying his opinion is invalid. I am saying I disagree with him. I don't feel that seething hatred for Texas. But it did lead me to the question, with everybody bailing out on Michigan after their bullshit scandal they had and leaving behind kind of an unhateable shell of what they used to be, with Saban leaving Alabama, with Georgia falling down a little bit, with Clemson falling down a little bit over the last couple of years, who is the most hated program in the country? Which led me to a couple of other questions. Who's the most insufferable coach in the country? Who's the most overhyped tradition in the country? Who's the most overdue program in the country? So I got about 5 most that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But I got 2 topics I'd like to talk about before we get to that. Big Ev, your Buckeyes are starting in basketball right now?
Yep, really right now.
Which leads me to question 1. We are on the cusp of March Madness. We are currently in the conference championship, especially the big teams, the big schools, big conferences are just starting their conference tournaments right now. A lot of the little schools are either in the middle or have already wrapped up. But the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big East, they're getting started right now. You, Big Ev, are an Ohio State fan. Casey's an A&M fan. I'm a Mississippi State fan. And Liam Blutman is a whoever is good that week fan.
What a lame comment.
Yeah, that's 2 lames from Liam for you, by the way. That's 2
Brandon
lames.
Walker's just having a lame day. It's not even anyone's birthday. Just bad out of Brandon Walker. Classic.
My question to the group is what percentage of your football, if your passion for football is 100% at your school, what percentage rolls over to basketball? Big Ev, that question goes to you.
I mean, I like football more than basketball. If I gave like an honest, but I'm a huge college basketball fan. I'd say like 80. I think that's fair for me.
Kayce, what is your percentage?
When I was in school, it was probably like 75. Like I was at every game. I absolutely loved it. But now, like the way I would weigh it is like, how many basketball national championships would I give up to win a football one? Yeah. And I would say probably 4, which would mean 25% if I had to guess.
You think 1 football title is equivalent to 4 basketball titles? That's an interesting theory there.
Well, I guess it also depends on the amount of time you get for. Like if I knew A&M, if you said for the next decade, A&M was going to win 4 basketball national titles
or 1.
Ooh, I don't know if I'd even take that shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I would do? I would take 5 because that means that over the next 10 years we win half of them. I would take that. So it's 20%. But that doesn't, because like I love A&M basketball. I love everything A&M because I'm an Aggie. And when March Madness comes around, like I go full blown into like, we're going to win the entire thing. And then I'm always let down. But like when I actually compare what I would take, it would be that. But I would say probably like in the middle of March, I'd say 50%. But that's not fair. Like I can't pretend like I'm watching every single A&M game all year. anymore, at least.
Blutman, your UCLA passion. Football's 100. What's basketball?
Well, yeah, like 2 years ago, it would have been 150. Every time I see a basketball now, I want to shoot myself. Like, just genuinely, I do not care about basketball at all anymore. It's a shocking turn of events for a former top college basketball mind in all the world, not just the USA. I genuinely just thought of this. It is so outlandish, and it's just the truth. UCLA winning a national championship in basketball would move me the same as winning a national championship in men's water polo. I just do not care at all right now. And I don't think I ever will again. Basketball stinks.
You're also lying.
I'm also not lying, Brandon
There
Walker.
is no way that's true.
If we looked up and UCLA was in the Final Four in 2 weeks, you'd be all in.
Yes.
I wouldn't actually. I'd probably be caring about the Miami Open, truthfully. I'm as authentic as it gets and genuine as it gets. I can't lie to you, player. That's just how it is. And you know that that's the truth because you've been around me for a year plus now. And you know when I be saying things, I be saying things. And I be, it'd be the truth.
Mine's 100. I love basketball at my school as much as I've ever loved football. Basketball was my first love at Mississippi State. They haven't treated me very well lately, but neither has football. So I'm coming off a 2-10 football season. I got a tournament team. I'm about 100. There's really no difference in my football passion and my basketball passion. Now,
so if I ask you the same question, you treat a basketball national championship the same as a football one?
I'd probably be a little more insufferable for football, but that's kind of comes with the territory of what my job is. I'd be, I'm hard to handle in season anyway. I'm kind of a motherfucker. Can y'all imagine if Mississippi State won a national title?
In football? No, I'd kill myself. I know I'd kill myself.
There's no way y'all would be able to handle this. Like it would be like Big Ev just won a national title, and what the arrogance he put forth is about 1/1000th of what I would put forth.
Oh, and I would be the same way. But that's the thing too, is like, again, come like basketball season and like when March is happening, like I'm all in on A&M basketball, obviously. And when I was in school, A&M basketball was so fucking good. It was so much fun. But I know myself, and I know deep down that winning a national title in football would make me one of the world's worst people. Like truly, winning a basketball one would be really fun, and I would get to brag about it, put out some merch, be annoying. I wouldn't be as insufferable, and I don't think you would be either.
I'd be a true son of a bitch if we won in football.
Yeah.
Anyway, my second topic before we get to everything else is I don't know if you saw the story out of West Virginia, Big Ev. Rich Rod, who has returned to West Virginia to try to capture past glory. Do you see what he banned?
TikToks.
Nope. Nope.
TikTok dances.
There you go.
TikTok dances.
It's a very good distinction right here because he did not ban TikTok. He said the guys are going to be on it, but he did ban TikTok dancing. If you want to play football at West Virginia, you put your TikTok dancing shoes up, your days are numbered. They're done forever. You can be on TikTok. I mean, people are going to have it, but you can't dance. Thoughts, Big Ev?
Brandon, this is bringing us back to a time when men were men.
Yeah.
When they didn't put on girls' clothes and dance for views. Maybe in COVID, they did nothing like that. They played football. They put three yards in a cloud of dust, physical, face mask to face mask, buckle your chin strap, and just run your face through the valley across from you. That's the kind of, even though Rich Rod plays a finesse style at times, I like it. I like it. I like a guy trying to come in and set the tone. Is it going to work with this generation? I don't know. I think maybe not. But I actually maybe appreciate he's trying to bring in a culture of guys who would not be interested in doing a TikTok dance. Maybe that's something we can get behind.
Big Ev, it really is a shame what the modern man has turned into, trying to just wiggle his dick for attention on TikTok, trying to get views, trying to copy the ladies dancing on there. It's a damn shame.
Imagine putting on ladies' clothes and doing duets with, I don't know, Charlie D'Amelio, Addison Rae.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me sick.
It makes me fucking sick, Big Ev, and I applaud you for standing up against it. Now, speaking of wiggling your body for attention, Kayce, what's your thoughts on this matter?
You are really on one today, aren't you? Like, is it because Mississippi State's playing basketball tonight? What's giving you such an ego today?
I don't know.
He's on one.
I announced my new deal. I don't really give a fuck about nothing no more.
I will say, you know how whenever you told everybody that I had told you I was pregnant like months and months before I had told everybody else, and you were like, it was the hardest kept secret. Do you know how long I wanted to be like, God damn it, Brandon has already signed his contract? Like, there were so many times that I wanted to be like, I can't do this anymore. Like, he's coming back. Everyone shut up.
Well, I mean, Kayce, I did just sign my contract last Friday after the yak. Just want everybody to know that. I signed it last Friday. I did not sign it in December.
That's just not true. That's just not true.
This isn't, you had a verbal commitment and
right.
You were always staying true to your word. Sure, there was some illegal recruiting and tampering going on, but
yeah. I already recorded a Rewatchables episode.
I will say, are you upset that Dan stole your shine by motorboating your mother? Because listen, as a huge Mama fan, I was texting her the whole time on Friday how upset I was that I wasn't there. And then I saw that happen. I was like, damn, I don't know if Brandon can ever rebound from this.
Come in.
You are revolting. You are revolting.
Smells like fart in here.
Was it a fart bomb?
No, it wasn't.
He just farted.
Liam, nobody likes online attention more than you. Thoughts on Rich Rod's TikTok dancing ban?
My favorite. I love all of this, honestly. I love the two quotes they dropped too. How about let's win the football game and not worry about winning the TikTok? Saying it like such a boomer like that makes me so happy. And then look, we try to have a hard edge or whatever, and you are in there in your tights dancing on TikTok. Ain't quite the image of our program that I want. It's a massive W for Rich Rod. This is good. We need more of this. Let's play some football, man.
Also, when did they start wearing tights for their TikTok dances? I thought that was weird.
I don't know.
Okay.
I will say, I agree with Ev that I don't know if it'll necessarily work with this generation. I would say, like, hey, maybe don't do TikTok dances in the facilities. Don't do it in the practice field. Don't do it in the locker room. Don't do it on that. If you want to do them at home, I don't give a shit. That's probably more reasonable to me. But I also just I just don't care. I just don't care.
I don't either. But whatever. What are you going to talk about on March?
No. I'm saying, I don't care if they do TikTok dances or not. That doesn't affect my day to day. I don't ever watch TikTok. I will say, though, that to tell an 18 or 17, 18, 19-year-old kid they can't do TikTok dances, feels like it would take away junior high aim from us. That would be something that would be devastating.
That being said, you want these kids to do whatever they want and everything, Kayce, but your school has had some, I hate this word, I'm going to use it though, has some cringe things go out on social media before, and you never like to when a cringe thing comes from your school. It's happened to me too, and the TikTok dancing by your players is cringe-worthy.
It is cringe, but it's also because I think we're older. I don't think kids that age think it's cringe. But also, the cringe things that come out of A&M or wherever else is traditions. So you might think they're cringe, but they are traditions.
Well, that's even worse.
Tradition.
Oh, it is now in China. Kayce, read an ad, and then we're going to get into the most.
Well, Brandon, are you finding it difficult to find time to have a complete balanced meal? Well, you shouldn't, because you've got a whole Huel refrigerator of Huel in the Mostly Sports studio. We love Huel. I just got a new shipment in last week of my daily greens. I got the protein powder. They, of course, have the ready-to-drink bottles. It's 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, low in sugar, and it's all in a handy bottle. Or, like I said, if you'd rather get the powder, you can just dump it in the water and go. I love the essential greens. It has everything you could need all day: fruits, vegetables, amino acids, probiotics, everything in just one scoop. And for new customers shopping at Huel.com, you can get 15% off plus a free gift using our code UR15 at Huel.com. Again, that's new customers, 15% off plus a free gift with UR15 at Huel, HUEL.com. Please see description for terms and conditions. And of course, like I said, the daily greens have changed my life. If you're trying to get healthy, it's the easiest way to do it. You don't have to buy all the fresh juices and all that. So use our partners at Huel, HUEL, UR15.
All right. Like I said, Pate, put out the other day that he thought Texas is the most hated team in the country. And I just don't feel that at all. I feel like Texas has gotten themselves back to respectability, and people have kind of not embraced them is the wrong word, but I don't feel like there's a wave of hatred towards Texas as a football program. I don't feel like there's a wave of hatred towards Sark. I don't think there's a hatred towards Arch Manning or Quinn Ewers or any of their players. I felt that hatred go to other teams over recent years. Certainly Michigan a couple of years ago when they won the national title. It's kind of marked men. Ohio State, now that they have the national title under Day, I feel like people will get tired of that pretty quickly. Georgia is hateable because not only have they been an elite on the field, they've been the opposite of elite off the field, and they just don't care. So my question is, Big Ev, two-part question. Do you feel like Texas is the most hated team in the country? And if you do not, who do you think it is?
I'm actually shocked by that he said Texas. I think Texas is not even close to the most hated team.
I agree.
I'm really surprised that he said that. I don't see at all where the nation is just hating Texas. I almost think the nation of anything is wants Texas to see Texas go get one.
Yeah.
I think America wants to see Texas all the way back. They've gotten very close. Ohio State, I think, has to be one of them. I think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I'm just feeling that extra because I get all the hate. I don't know if I want to give away. I wrote down 3. I don't know if I want to just take everyone's. Pick.
Just give your 3, and then we'll all deal with it on our own way.
So I wrote Ohio State, I wrote Notre Dame, and I wrote Alabama.
Yeah.
Also, Alabama, I think, even though Saban left, I still think they're hated. When you've won as much as Alabama has won, America will never root for them to win. They need to be bad for a long time.
Yeah, they need a reset.
Around on them a long time. It's not nearly been long enough. Not even close. So Bama, I think big. I actually think Bama would be number 1 on my list. Notre Dame, I think is very you either kind of like them or you hate them. I think they have so many fans because it's a bunch of assholes who couldn't sniff Notre Dame, but they just love it because it was on TV and their uncle's Irish and whatever. They like to drink beer, whatever dumbass reason they root for Notre Dame. I think those are the clear 3 in my opinion.
Christian Puente says the country loved Indy in the playoffs. What? I certainly didn't feel that. And Notre Dame is a hatred that is passed down through generations. And I'll tell you something. I've been fighting with Notre Dame fans because the delusional Notre Dame fans are totally back. I said a couple of weeks ago that Texas was the second best team in the country, and Notre Dame fans were like, "No, we played for a national title. They didn't play for a national title." I said Oregon was better than Notre Dame. Said, "No, we played for a national title. Oregon didn't play for a national title." Yeah, because those two teams ran into Ohio State first. The only reason Oregon didn't go far in the playoff, they played Ohio State first. The only reason Texas didn't play for a national title, they played Ohio State. Notre Dame didn't have to do that until the national title game. I think Notre Dame's way up there. Kayce, what would you say to all of this?
Well, I definitely disagree with the Texas thing from a nation standpoint. Obviously, from my neck of the woods, absolutely Texas is up there. From Oklahoma, Oklahoma hates Texas, but I don't think that Texas is even close from a national standpoint. And I actually I have tiers on here, and I put before it was Alabama under Saban. I don't think Alabama's there anymore because I do think it's kind of once Saban left. I mean, yes, it's still the dynasty and it's not that long ago, but I don't feel like there's this overwhelming hatred for Alabama the way there was when Saban was there. The same way with New England with Bill Belichick. Then I have Michigan still, and I understand a lot of people have probably gotten over that to a certain degree. But I feel like anytime anything with Michigan comes up, unless you're a Michigan fan, everybody's like cheaters, that whole thing. Notre Dame, just from a historical standpoint. And then one that I'm shocked, and maybe you have it, Brandon, but I mean, Colorado is very hated. There's a lot of people that love Colorado. There's a lot of people that fucking hate Colorado, and it's because of Deion.
Right. I'm going to separate the two. I don't think anybody hates Colorado. Most people, nothing Colorado. People either love Deion or hate Deion, and a lot of people hate Deion, but I don't think it's Colorado at all.
Well, I mean, so what I did was I was from a program standpoint, I don't think Notre Dame is near as hated. I said this, I think it was last week, Marcus Freeman makes Notre Dame more likable to me. From a program standpoint, if you separate the coaches, but I'm saying Alabama under Nick Saban. I do think Colorado right now, because he is their head coach, people do root against Colorado far more than they would ever give a flying shit about Colorado if he wasn't there.
Fair enough. I actually think, Blutman, I'll let you go first, and then I'll say.
No, you go first. Go first.
I think we're in a recession of hatred. I think we're in a downturn of hatred, and it needs to come back because I'll explain it like this. Alabama is a hated program and has been. Them losing the greatest coach of all time and immediately losing to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma in a blowout knocks some sting off their hatred. Like that, if you're not at the top of the sport, it's harder to be the most hated team, and they're not at the top of the sport and won't be until they get a new coach. Ohio State just got to the top of the sport, and they kind of went through a struggle this year. They didn't have a hated arc this year. They had a couple of setbacks, and they didn't have a hateable storyline. So I don't really put them now. If they win next year, they're going to be the most hated team in the country. Texas, again, Big F said it. I think people are embracing Texas being back in the mix. They kind of like it a little bit. Notre Dame, the coach is a little too likable to be truly, truly, truly hated. Tennessee, terrible fans. Irrelevant team, really, as far as they've gotten close to being back, but they haven't really gotten back yet. They get to the playoff this year and just get destroyed. There's no reason to really hate them. Michigan, hateable for a year, and then they nuked the whole program because they're all cowards and ran away from the trouble. So what are you going to do? Hate the guy, hate Sharon Moore? It's not his fault everybody cheated and ran. So I think, and Georgia is another one. Georgia's probably the closest because they are led by a douchebag coach. Their players get in trouble off the field, and they're elite on the football field. So that's probably the most hated team in the country right now. But again, that's down a little bit because of how down they were this year. So I don't think we truly have a number one blow away most hated team. Blutman, your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree with almost everything that has been said. I am more inclined to agree with Kayce that a bit of steam has come off with Notre Dame in the hate because Marcus Freeman just is so likable. I completely agree with that. My top 5, I think Michigan is still number 1. The cheating stuff just lives rent-free in everyone's brain, and anytime that anything comes up with Michigan, circle back to that. Every time that there's something happening in the Stallion situation, people get geeked. Michigan's the 1, Ohio State's the 2, Georgia would be the 3, and I'd figure out the 4 and 5 the other another time. The thing here that just needs to be brought up and pounded into the wall, the ineptitude of this guy, of the power poll or rating system, whatever it is so broken and clearly malfunctioned. To even say Texas is the number 1 team, most hated team, whatever. They're not in the top 10 of most hated or the 15. It's such a gross, zero. You have zero touch on the state of the game if you actually think Texas is top 10, 15 most hated. It's unbelievably remarkable. I can't fathom the idiocy there.
Kayce doing that.
No, I wonder if he did just get back from doing a tour in Texas, and I think he spent a good amount of time in College Station. So I wonder if maybe that played into it, but I completely agree. Outside of Norman and College Station, there's just no way you even put it close to the top of the list. And Brandon, speaking of Texas, speaking of they got a lot of money down there, that oil money. We got Rocket Money to really keep us on track,
quite the segue there, Kayce.
Hey, listen, I was trying to figure out how to tie it in. Okay, leave me alone. Okay, whatever. We love Rocket Money. Okay, we love Rocket Money. They've been with us for a while now. It's an app that I've been using for a lot longer than they've been on this podcast because it's a personal finance app that just helps you day to day figure out not just even budget stuff, not like where it's yelling at you, but it does help you see exactly how much you have, but also it helps cancel your unwanted subscriptions. So in this day and age, it's so easy to just subscribe to something you completely forget. You don't even notice because it's, $5 here, $10 here, $7 here. But Rocket Money keeps it all in one place. Not only do they alert you if you're not really, paying attention to it, they'll also just cancel it for you. So you don't have to call anybody. You don't have to email anybody. They'll do it all for you. And you can also, if you want to create a personal budget, you can look at everything that's on your credit cards. You can do it all. And of course, most importantly, it's a free app. We love it. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster at rocketmoney.com/rough. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and saves a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Again, that's rocketmoney.com/rough. Rocket Money, fandom.com/rough.
All right. So I got the most topics coming up real quick. I wonder what odds BFW would put on who gets drafted first, McCord or Howard. I know he's Buckeye Brandon, but I do think I also think he thinks Howard kind of sucks. Well, I don't think Howard sucks. He might suck as an NFL prospect, and that's fine. This is a college football podcast. He certainly didn't suck at college football. McCord or Howard, McCord's probably getting drafted first. He's probably fourth round, and Howard's probably going sixth round, seventh round, or undrafted. No, I don't know why you would waste any brain cells thinking about that at all. That's just weird on your part. All right.
You are truly on one.
How am I truly on one? That was a dumb question.
I actually think they get drafted pretty similar. Like I think they're pretty close. Like I think maybe like fourth, fifth round, or like even both something. I think they both go in like the middle.
I just can't imagine worrying about it. Is there a scorekeeper out there that wants to? If McCord goes fourth round, pick 11, and Howard goes fourth round, pick 27, are some people going to be like, see, Ohio State, you had the wrong guy? I mean, they won a national title.
Brandon, people are that stupid. They will. They genuinely will. It's crazy.
It's just really fucking dumb. And if McCord was going top 5 and Howard was going undrafted, okay, I get it. Maybe they, but no, just no. Who would win in a fight, Megan making money or Kayce? Oh, Megan making money would beat the shit out of Kayce. Oh my God. It would be.
Yeah, probably.
She's Cajun.
Well, wait, hold on. Are we doing like street fight or are we doing boxing?
I don't know.
Street
fight, she'd kick the shit out of me. Boxing, I think that I would be able to hang.
I don't think she knows.
You got the size on her. You're tall.
I don't think she knows the difference.
Yeah, no, she would. Like it'd be tough. It would be tough. A street fight would be, especially you give her a few drinks, I'd be toast. I'd try my hardest though.
It'd be hot as fuck though.
Mud wrestling. I think I'd get her because of I have the height on her.
Have you ever mud wrestled?
I have in college, but that's a past life.
All right. Respect. Anyway.
Also foam wrestled. Like a big baby pool full of like foam that you would use at like a foam party.
Lord Jesus. Okay, let me just move on. So I did Let's Do the Most Hated. We just did that one. I have 2 subjects here I'm very interested in, and I'll leave with them. Most insufferable coach in the country and most overhyped tradition in the country. I want to start with most overhyped tradition because I think this one could get very interesting. I have one, and I'm anxious to see what everybody else has. Everybody come up with one for this one?
Yeah. Are you taking that from me right now? Or did you actually think of that at the same time as me? No, I'm genuinely curious. Like, did you actually read the text message thread?
Yeah, you sent it in the group text. I
thought we were going to have like a moment where you were also thinking it. Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, did nobody else do this?
I did.
No, I sent it in the group text. Yeah.
Easy one too.
All right. All right. Well, you know what, Blutman? You just talked yourself into going first. Go, Blutman.
Yeah, it's Jump Around by the biggest landslide to ever landslide. Jump Around is so lame, and anyone who is a visiting fan of Wisconsin goes there and they're so let down by it. I haven't heard one person go there and come back and rave about Jump Around was so good. It stinks. It's like 2 minutes of people jumping up and down. You could go to a kindergarten and see people do that too. It's the most bland, basic garbage nothingness. There are so many good traditions in college football and college sports in general. To want to showcase Jump Around and try and get people in on the sport because of that, we could do so much better. So much better. The video, did you guys see videos of it last year just in the stands, people taking videos on their phone? Stinks.
I have a rebuttal to it because I appreciate the Jump Around. We went there. We did a show there. What was that? 2 years? We've done a few there, but we did 2 years ago when Ohio State came. I think a year like this year is probably tough when the team's not good and you're losing and maybe you're losing by a lot, it's probably a tough sell.
I mean, then that's
Why would
really
jump
bad
around?
then, because the
feel
tradition
like
only
not-
being good when you're good, that's not good.
Go ahead.
It's a fair rebuttal. I just think if you don't like jump around, you're just like not a fun, and you're anti-fun.
You just
No,
you're a
that's
fun
very
sucker.
anti-fun.
Hold on.
You are a
9-year-old guy,
You're
Kayce.
anti-fun.
Hold
you
on.
are a
Oh,
fun
9-year-old guy,
sucker.
Brandon
Getting
Walker.
rowdy with the
Sucker.
fellas is fun.
Brandon Walker.
Fun sucker.
It leads into mine, which I did not say jump around specifically, but I am looking at it when I say this. Fourth quarter songs. And I say it for this reason. Jump around, the Tom Petty one at Florida. We had one at Mississippi State a long time ago. Any song that you play between the third and fourth quarter, or the first and second quarter, is completely dependent on your football team. There have been times where Wisconsin's playing and jump around hits in a 17-14 game against Ohio State in an October night that, oh my God, it's the best scene in the world. But then there are times when they are playing Western Michigan in September and they're trying to force it, and they are always, every fourth quarter song, you're always chasing the one time it happened perfectly. The one time, like when Tom Petty died and Florida did it, they are chasing that moment for the rest of time, and you'll never get it. Wisconsin probably had a perfect jump around once or twice, but when they are losing to Alabama by 3 touchdowns, when they are losing to Michigan, when they are losing to Ohio State, it just looks stupid, and it's not their fault, but it is chasing a high that you'll never get again. That is what I believe about fourth quarter songs, and that is my answer.
Well, that's also like Sweet Caroline for the Red Sox. Like if they're losing by like 17 runs or something, like it doesn't hit. I will say though, jump around to me, like they should put it at the beginning of the game, kind of like Thunderstruck.
Before kickoff,
Yeah.
I like that.
Like that'd be sick because I agree with you, Ev. I think Liam's a fun sucker. If you don't like jump around, like getting in it can you imagine being back in college and like just being able to just jump around with your buddies? Like that sounds great to me.
Fantastic.
Sounds incredible.
Wisconsin also has a weird thing where their student section doesn't fill up till like the first quarter or something. They go row by row all the way up to the top. I don't remember. I just remember it being empty until it got full, like halfway through the first quarter. But anyway, maybe I'm misremembering. Kayce, you do your most overhyped tradition.
So this one was one that I had to see in person, Brandon, and I believe you and I were either sitting next to each other or close to each other for me to just really just be incredibly unimpressed. I know what you're
gonna say.
The fucking gate at Nebraska. Good Lord. Like I was like, this is what Will Compton has been hyping up forever. And like, again, I grew up, I've told this story plenty on Unnecessary Roughness. Like my next door neighbors growing up in Texas were all Nebraska fans. So obviously I was, like they were winning all the time in the 90s, and that's great. All you hear, oh, this is going to be great. And I understand we were at a game, they were playing Michigan, they were going to get killed. It was hot. It was an early game. That was the most anticlimactic thing I've ever seen in my life. I was like, that was it? Like this is what we're talking about? Like Brandon, I think I looked at you and I was like, is it over? Like that, what's happening? How is that even possibly one of the coolest traditions in college football?
I thought you were going to say Clemson.
Well, funny you mentioned that because Clemson's on here too. The fact that they take a bus from the locker room that they could just easily walk out of, and they go up a hill, and then they run down a hill from the buses to touch that rock. What are we doing here? What's happening? Again, on TV, it looks way cooler because the cameras have it to where they're all running, and obviously Dabo's out in front. But watching the buses actually pull around and like let them like file off was so lame.
I thought you were going to say the other Clemson tradition.
The rock they rub is this big.
I thought you were going to say storming the field after every single game, whether you beat Alabama or whether you beat Delaware State.
Yeah, that one. I mean, I don't. So when we went to Clemson, and that was in like what 2019, they were playing A&M, and they did win. But like I don't even like that wouldn't even register to me. It's more like I do agree with like the fourth quarter songs, but like pregame traditions that get so much hype, and then when you see them in person happen, and you're just like, what? Like at least Clemson has some like fanfare with it. Like everyone's like, ooh, like Nebraska, I didn't even know it was happening. I was like, this cannot be what Will Compton's been raving about that we have to see when we go to Nebraska.
Blutman, not Blutman. Big F, most overhyped tradition.
Yeah, I was going to say Clemson. Like, we saw it. I mean, I was going to say really The Rock and The Rundown as a combo.
Yeah.
The Rock, I remember walking past it with, I think, with Borelli. And I remember I went to touch it and not realizing there's a fucking line out the wazoo to touch this dumbass rock. I'm thinking I'm going up and just touch it. And they're like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean what I'm doing? I'm going to touch the rock. They're like, I'm like, he points. I just look, there's like 70 people waiting to touch this rock. Kickoff's in like 10 minutes. I'm like, these guys are waiting to touch this rock? Get the fuck out of here. And then the running down the field, I don't see what the difference is between running out of the tunnel and just running down this hill. It's the same effect of running out of the tunnel, home team, rah, rah, you get excited. And you have all the downside of tripping down a fucking hill.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up to be the most like memed, dumbass team in America. You fall down that hill one time. Anytime you do something stupid, anytime you lose, that's getting clipped out the wazoo. It just I don't see even why they do it.
It's like seeing behind the curtain, seeing them all getting out of the bus is just stupid. It's just so dumb.
Somebody in the chat says dotting the I.
Okay.
All right. Fair. Okay. Kayce.
Best band in land.
Kayce, do another one.
Well, you didn't say yours.
Yeah, I did. It's I folded.
Oh, The Rock.
I folded.
Oh, that's right.
I folded jump around into fourth quarter songs because it's so dependent on what the score is. It's so dependent on everything.
If you had to pick though, because I think we were together for both of them, if you had to pick which one's more overrated, would you take Clemson or Nebraska? Because I think you and I talk shit the whole time anywhere we go. But
to me, it's Clemson was the most disappointing I'd ever seen. Now I will say there is. I'm trying a new Brandon Walker. I'm trying a better Brandon Walker. I'm trying a Brandon Walker that spreads less hatred. There is one I haven't said, and I'm not going to say.
Don't do it.
All I will say is it is a very new tradition, and it simply exists so a bunch of assholes can feel good about themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's all I'll say about that. Who knows what it might be?
Say
it. Liam. He's,
Go ahead.
Okay. Factor. So we're doing this podcast early tonight because it is the SEC basketball tournament. Mississippi State is playing basketball in just a little bit. And listen, none of us have time to cook. None of us want to go out and grab something really quick. We want to sit down on the couch, sit down in the gambling cave and eat a nutritious, healthy meal. And that's where Factor comes in. It's dietitian approved. It's ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. You choose your meal every single week. You choose your menu, however many meals that you want to get. You can pick exactly what you want, whether it's keto, whether it's vegetarian, whether it's protein plus, whether you just want some mashed potatoes. You can do whatever you want with Factor. They also have breakfast. They have premium options. You can get a steak. You can get seafood. You can do the whole thing. And also, I don't know, I love listening to Unnamed every week. The drama is phenomenal. Apparently, one of Kirk Minahan's producers has lost 40 pounds eating Factor. He's only been eating Factor. So it is nutritious. It is dietitian approved. And obviously, your results will depend on your diet and exercise. But we love Factor. It makes life completely easy. So eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast. Use code Factor Podcast. Get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's Factor Podcast at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast. Get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
All right. Now we go to most insufferable coach. And unlike the other categories, I'm going to do some nominees here. Okay.
Ooh.
My nominees for most insufferable coach. I haven't even thought about it, but I'm just going to rip them off the dome here. Kirby Smart, Georgia Bulldogs. Kurt Cignetti, Indiana Hoosiers. I'm not including Brian Kelly because he'd win, and he's not insufferable. He's just a fucking asshole. So I'm not including him. Steve Sarkisian, Texas. Remember when he blew up that guy that just touched him? Deion Sanders, Colorado. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. He's a nominee. James Franklin.
Oh, my God.
Penn State. And Dabo Swinney, Clemson. Those are my nominees. So when I go around, I will ask, are you going to choose one of mine or will you add another nominee? Big Ev, will you choose one of those or will you add a new nominee?
Yeah, I'll take one of those. Give me Dabo. He really is just full of shit. Like Preacher Man Dabo is just the absolute worst. I'm just sick of this guy. He knows damn well. There's so much to say about Dabo. Like he's just a phony. Like that's just the only way to say he's just a phony. And it's been kind of nice watching, even though I guess they won the playoff game this year, whatever, or excuse me, played in the playoff game. Just to see them kind of get knocked down a peg and him continue to just like not cave to what college football is doing, and him continue to lose because of it. And when I say lose, I mean relative, obviously considering where they were 5 years ago, not literally lose. They're still winning 9-10 games, whatever. But he's just so full of shit. He pretends to be like the not look at me guy, and he's one of the bigger look at me guys in the sport. From the running ahead of everyone, to just the shit he says. Yeah, I'll take Dabo. Dabo was the first. When you said this category, whoever said this category, Dabo was the first name that popped in my head, so I had to go with him.
Kayce, will you be taking one of the nominees or will you be adding someone else?
I'm going to go against your caveat because I do think Brian Kelly is the most insufferable coach, because I think if you're an asshole, you're insufferable. For the sake of your nominees, if I was going to take somebody out of that, I would take Kirby Smart, just because like I called him a cheese wiener last week. Like the fact that he like tries to say things like, oh, nobody believed in Georgia. Like nobody believed in us. Like who didn't believe in you, Kirby? Like, what are you talking about? And he throws on that Southern accent and that dumbass visor and is like, I don't know, all of my players are getting arrested for actual crimes, but like, whatever. But I do think Brian Kelly is. And I think, going back to earlier in the show when we were talking about Notre Dame being one of the most hated programs, I absolutely think Notre Dame is far less hateable with Marcus Freeman, partly because Brian Kelly was so hateable. And then Marcus Freeman's very likable. But I just, everything he does, he's made LSU uncool. Do you know how hard it is to make LSU uncool? It's like the coolest college football program in the country, and they can be made fun of because of Brian Kelly and his fake accents.
Blutman, will you take one of my nominees or someone else?
Yeah, of course.
He killed a kid. He killed a kid.
I did think very hard about going with Brian Kelly. I like that Kayce was able to say a lot that I would have said and not go there. So I'll go and swerve a bit. Amidst Penn State's great season, it's not talked about enough that James Franklin had multiple moments that just made your skin crawl in disgust. How do you guys, you want to take a trip down memory lane? Remember when after they lost to Ohio State, he just straight up got into it with a fan for some reason? That was his response. Let me pick out this guy in row C, C8 or whatever, or blah, 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 12. That's where he went. The travel issues with the new look Big Ten. And he was just like, we have limited length of the runway at the State College Airport, so we have to bus on over to Harrisburg and fly out of there. Dude, ain't nobody care. How about when they lost the Big Ten championship game and he was whining that it was a JV setup? He had so many moments, for lack of a better term, Brandon, cringe moments this past season that got swept under the rug because they had a successful season and made it to the semifinal. James Franklin's as insufferable as it gets without having to kill someone.
Brandon.
Upset of the century that it's not Deion Sanders. He is a guy that got to Colorado, won his first 2 games, went on 60 Minutes. They said, who's the best coach in the country? He said, bring me a mirror so I can look at him. Proceeded to go 4-8 after that. You know how arrogant you got to be. You know how egotistical you got to be. You know how insufferable you got to be to take an Indiana program from nothing to its first 10-win season ever to the college football playoff and still come across as an unlikable douchebag asshole. You know how unlikable you got to be to take Indiana to the playoff, beating nobody, being handed a playoff spot by virtue of the Big Ten scheduling and by you being a coward and unscheduling an opponent that might have beaten you. You know how big of a fucking douchebag you got to be to take all the advantages of being at a downtrodden place like Indiana. That should have been the underdog story of the year. Should have been incredible. But instead, he's out there saying, well, we beat top 25 programs around here. No, you didn't. You didn't fucking play any. Well, we only lost to Ohio State by 15. We only lost to Notre Dame by 10. Yeah, it was 27-3 with 30 seconds left, and Notre Dame's starters over there are hugging when you scored 2 late touchdowns that don't matter. Everything about Indiana was a lie built on a preposterous schedule that was foisted upon us by an expanded Big Ten. They just slipped through the cracks and snuck out wins. They didn't really win 11 games. They just happened to be the team that got that schedule. And Kurt Signetti acted like he is Newt Rogney and Vince Lombardi born again. Fuck out of here, this insufferable fucking douchebag. He's an asshole.
You forgot one of the main ones.
What?
Google me.
Yeah, all of it. When he gets the mic at the basketball game and he says "fuck Michigan" and "fuck Ohio State," and that should all be likable and everything. But he got handed a schedule that anybody would have gone to the playoff, and he acts like he did it. He didn't do shit. He just put a competent football team, which he does get credit for. They were pretty good, and they were better than any Indiana team we've seen, but they weren't what the schedule gave them, and he acts like he did it all.
I completely agree. And I wanted to like him. I really did. When we were at Indiana and like the Indiana fans, like I really I liked the Indiana scene and the students and all that. And then there's something about his face. Like he just looks like a guy they would cast as a villain in like a war movie. Like he just looks like an asshole.
All right, you got another one?
I do. So the weather is breaking across the country right now. I don't know how it is in Chicago. I know that when I was in New York, weather is breaking. And that means, fellas, I'm sure you're excited. Put on your shorts, Ev. I know you're a shorts guy. You're ready to show those nice stems and chubbies. Chubbies are the best shorts in the game. You know, whether you want to show a whole bunch of thigh, you don't want to show hardly any thigh. Chubbies has you covered. Okay. So 20% off when you use our code UR at chubbyshorts.com. I accidentally exited out of the ad right now. So let me get back in here real quick. Chubbies, they not only have the very comfortable shorts, which are the original stretch shorts, they also have the classic lined swim collection. Boys, it's about to be boat season, beach season, pool season. Chubbies has you covered. They also have the performance polos. And now you've got everything. You're cooking with gas here. You've got soft, stretchy, and breathable fabric. They're built to kick back, turn up, chill out, party down, whatever it may be. So whether you're squeezing out as many, like shorts and hoodies days, because those days I know guys love, whether you're heading to the beach, whatever you may do, that the quick drying 4-way stretch fabric of those swim collections is the best damn swim trunks in the game. So whether you're going to get dressed up for your workday, a workout, or a weekend getaway, Chubbies has you covered. And for a limited time, they're giving our viewers 20% off your order with our code UR at chubbyshorts.com. That's CHUBBIES shorts.com. Show unnecessary roughness and support. Tell them we sent you. Don't blend in with the crowd. Stand out with Chubbies.
All right. For my knowledge, do you have any more?
Nope.
That's it. Okay. So we're free to go. Okay. So we got about 10 minutes before I need to get out of here. We can do a couple we might not get to all these categories. But I just threw this category in because I think it's an interesting topic. Most overdue program in the college football. Now you can take that to mean whatever you want. I know what I'm going with. But I don't know how you all interpret most overdue program in the country. Big F, go.
So I took it as a national championship. I think there's two clear answers with really one glaring one.
Yeah.
To me, it's Oregon. Mm-hmm. Oregon has been, for almost 30 years now, since Joey Harrington, early 2000s. It just feels like they've been on the doorstep for obviously Chip Kelly's reign into Mark Herflick. Like they had so many good teams, and they've been so close, even to obviously the landing now. They're right there on the doorstep again. Number 1 seed. I think it has to be Oregon. And then Texas, too, is obviously incredible. I think is due as well. But Oregon, to me, is just, for decades, they've been so fucking close and really consistently very good.
I'll go next. I think it's Penn State. Penn State gets jeered at, and they get treated like they're a joke. Because what has been their crime the last couple of years? They couldn't beat Michigan and Ohio State, the last 2 national champions. You can't win the big one. You can't beat Michigan. You can't beat Ohio State. Well, guess who the fuck can over the last 2 years? Pretty much nobody. I mean, like they have been doing exactly what everybody, and they get to the Final Four. Their quarterback throws one bad pass. They end up losing that game at the very, very end. They were right there with Notre Dame. They were this close to playing for a national title. I think Penn State is this close to breaking the dam. I think they're this close to winning a national title. I think the pressure is building. Michigan finally broke through and won the title after 3 straight playoff appearances. Ohio State finally broke through. And I think Penn State is the one that is about to break through. I think Penn State is right there, and they're the most overdue program based on what they've been the last couple of years. Kayce.
I did 2 different ones. I did Oregon as well, because like if you look back, it's like not only have they been right there on the doorstep, like even in like 2023, like they were better. I believe they were better than Washington, and they just couldn't beat them. They couldn't get over that hump. You look at, I think they were favored against you guys in the first college football playoff. I believe they were favored over Ohio State. They couldn't do it. They're right there, which is why I said that they're the most due, because I feel like they're just really knocking on the door. And then whether people want to say this is a homer pick or not, obviously we're not knocking on the door. Obviously we're not standing right there, but the amount of money and the amount of effort that A&M is putting into this program, and like winning 10 games a season, it has been difficult for A&M. I believe that A&M is one of the most overdue programs in the country to not necessarily win a national title, because we haven't done that since 1939, but to really get over that hump and be like, all this fucking money and everything that we have and all the resources and all the assets, we deserve a team that is a top tier program in the country from a football standpoint, like not from all the glitz and glamour on the field. And that, to me, again, whether that's a homer pick or not, I do believe that A&M is in that conversation. Different type than Oregon, though, because Oregon's actually there and knocking on the door.
Blubman?
I went in the other direction here. I went with literal and not national champion overdue. I went with the team that won a national championship in the 90s at the FCS level and has literally had 0 success in the FBS. I went with UMass, and I'll leave it at that.
UMass.
They are as overdue as it gets. They
overdue for what?
To win. They haven't won anything they had success in the FCS. They got back to the FBS. They haven't won a dang thing. They don't win 5 games. They're overdue for something. I interpreted this a lot differently than you guys. That's okay.
You don't see overdue as somebody that's like they're right there and they're right at the top of the mountain. They can't quite get there. And you see it as somebody at the bottom of the mountain that just needs to start climbing?
Yeah, and seeing other programs that have had, very little success in their entire FBS history wiggle around and find a way into winning some games and sparking big moments. Yeah, I did. This is genuinely where my head went.
I don't say this lightly, okay? And there's no bigger Blutman fan than me. Boy, I just get delighted listening to you talk ball.
Thanks.
I think that's the worst answer in the history of the show.
I can't help how I interpreted it.
You said the literal definition of overdue. What is the definition of overdue to you?
That's just what I was thinking. Like a program that has been down for so long that is due for something decent to happen.
But that'd be wouldn't you think maybe like a Nebraska would like
a power team?
I did think of Nebraska, but Nebraska's won 9 games not that long ago. They had success in the Big 12 not that long ago. UMass has never ever been good in the FBS.
Let him have it.
They do not win 5 games. They had plenty of success at the FCS level. They transitioned to the FBS. There is nothing there. FBS all time, I think their record is 73, 185, and 6.
Kylie Roberts says Mississippi State has been down for so long. 2022, we won 9 games, beat Ole Miss. Mike Leach died 12 days later. What do you want us to do? The coach died, and we were a 9-win team. We went to a bowl game, beat Illinois in Florida. We were not down. We were not down at all. And then Leach dies, and we haven't been able to put it back together. So I don't know what to tell you. That's not
R.I.P.
That's not overdue.
Shout out Uncle Kenny for agreeing with me on UMass. Shout out Uncle Kenny.
Who's Uncle Kenny?
Uncle Kenny. Shout out Uncle Kenny.
Shout out Uncle Kenny.
Who the hell is Uncle Kenny?
Shout
Uncle Kenny.
Kayce, shout out Uncle Kenny.
Shout out Uncle Kenny.
Good cat.
Oh, Shiny98918 says, why did I get blocked on Twitter, Brandon? Probably because you were a fucking douchebag. That's the only way people get blocked. People are like, why'd he block me? I just called his wife a whore. Yeah, no shit. I'm not reading that dumb shit.
Brandon, I did like an Ask Me Anything on Instagram, and like somebody asked me that. First of all, I get a ton of questions about you on those always. There was one that said like, how sad were you when Brandon was giving his speech? And I posted the photo of you like laying in my lap on the airplane. And I was like, I knew he was staying. I let him do his wrestling thing. And then the amount of people I got DMing me saying, can you please ask him to unblock me on Twitter? I was like, just no. Like, why? You think that I'm going to send him a list? He's not going to listen to me. How many people do you have blocked?
I don't know. And I might have you blocked. I don't know. I haven't seen one of your tweets in a while. So, anyway, that's it. We're going to get out of here. I got to go change into my basketball gear, and my pizza's on the way. So we're going to go. Thank you. We'll be back next week to talk college football. She's taking a picture. Once again, thanks to Twisted Tea, our presenting sponsor. Get you some peach tea, get you some of their half and half, get you all of it. The original, it's all good. Twisted Tea. That's Unnecessary Roughness. Thanks for watching.